During his school years, Tom was already a misunderstood genius. He came up with a plan so brilliant that it solved an oil spill crisis in Mexico, catching the attention of the 8 largest oil companies in the world. They engaged in a corporate war to hire him even before graduation, offering everything: executive positions, company shares, and an annual salary of $400,000. But, in a plot twist, Tom turned everything down. Instead of a life of luxury and endless meetings about fake sustainability, he accepted a much more interesting job in Spain with Walter Moreland, a retired treasure hunter and owner of a marine salvage company. The goal? Crack open a vault that no one had ever managed to open because, after all, getting rich honestly is overrated. Walter's team included Lorraine, his adopted daughter, a disguise and con expert; Klaus, the team's hacker who had probably never seen sunlight; James, the tough ex-soldier; and Simon, the logistics master who could get any equipment as long as the price was right. Their target? 3 coins containing coordinates to a lost treasure, confiscated by Spanish authorities and locked in an impenetrable vault inside the Bank of Spain. The only catch: the bank was protected as if it held the secrets of eternal life. Sensors, cameras, guards trained to react at the slightest suspicious sneeze, and, as the cherry on top, a former elite counterterrorism chief as head of security. Oh, and just to make things more exciting, the headquarters of the Spanish army was right across the street, ready to deploy 500 soldiers at the first sign of trouble. Yeah, it seemed like a great idea. The first challenge was hacking into the bank system to obtain an access code. While everyone struggled to figure it out, Tom, with his lazy genius, suggested they pose as an automated voicemail and trick a bank customer into revealing the code. And just like that, within minutes, they had the code in hand, and Tom was already heading home as if he had just ordered a pizza. The next day, he started studying the bank structure to figure out how to open the vault without turning the place into a giant aquarium, since he discovered that the vault would flood with water if there was any change in weight. In other words, one little oops, and the whole team would have a forced meeting with Neptune. The mission began with Lorraine infiltrating as an art insurance agent, while Tom and Simon disguised themselves as janitors. Lorraine had to steal the vault keys hidden behind valuable paintings, while Tom scanned the vault structure without getting caught. But, since life never makes things easy for criminals, problems arose. Lorraine had to get the security chief's fingerprint without raising suspicion, so she made him hold her coffee. Meanwhile, Tom was almost caught when he got stuck under a conference room table while his scanner was at 96%. If this were a movie, this would be the moment when the tense soundtrack starts escalating. After sweating bullets, he completed the scan but triggered an alarm. The bank went into lockdown, soldiers were activated, and Lorraine realized she forgot to return the stolen key. The solution: an improvised magic trick. Lorraine tossed the key to Tom, who sprinted to return it at the last second before being discovered. Like a master of improvisation, he decided to simply act like a clueless janitor, pretending he had no idea what was going on. Somehow, it worked and he escaped unscathed. With the mission completed, Tom analyzed the scan data and confirmed his suspicion. The vault was a giant water-based trap. To avoid a watery death, they had to ensure the weight inside the vault never changed. How to solve this? Well, Tom had to crack his genius brain once again. These bank scenes were actually filmed at the real headquarters of the Spanish National Research Council. That's right, what looks like a bank in movies isn't always a real bank. Now, about the story. If I were in this situation, I definitely wouldn't have entered a bank guarded by a former counterterrorism chief. But if, for some reason, I were involved, I would have at least planned a better escape route than pretend you didn't hear the alarm. What I found most interesting was the creativity used to bypass security systems. Sometimes the smartest trick is the simplest one. Simon and James were ready to make history or become breaking news when they confirmed Tom's suspicion. Beneath the bank was a giant scale. The problem? The balance was at 0. No hidden fortune, just massive disappointment. To make things worse, the walls of the underground chamber were made of titanium, steel, and reinforced concrete. Not even the most powerful drill on Amazon could get through that. And as if that weren't enough, it would take 15 days to drill through. As any good thief would say, "We don't have that kind of time." Walter, disheartened, went for a walk in the plaza, where soccer fans were going crazy over the World Cup final. That's when the idea struck him. With all the cameras focused on the fans, the team could break in through the ceiling. The plan was back on, but one detail remained: how to bypass the vault's weight-sensitive scale. Tom, being the genius he was, experimented with a glass of water, liquid nitrogen, and a scale. The lesson? Freeze something enough and the scale won't notice a thing. Now, they just needed an industrial amount of liquid nitrogen. With only 105 minutes, the duration of the Spain versus Netherlands match, the thieves zip-lined onto the bank's roof, opened a small glass window, squeezed through ventilation ducts, and, after crawling more than a military recruit in training, finally reached the vault. With Klaus, the team's hacker, because every heist movie needs one, they bypassed security and activated the giant scale. Simon poured the liquid nitrogen, and just like that, total freeze. The team entered the vault and started hunting for the ultra-rare coins. But, of course, not everything could go smoothly. Security discovered the open window and rushed to the scene. And that wasn't all. James, ever the sneaky one, revealed that he was an undercover agent. He grabbed the coins and bolted. But, as every heist movie dictates, the plan had to go wrong somehow. The ice melted, activating the security mechanism, and the vault started flooding. Now, Tom and Lorraine were trapped and about to drown. A terrible time to forget swimming lessons. With James swimming like Michael Phelps and escaping with the treasure, Tom came up with a crazy idea. If they put enough weight on the scale, the system would think the vault was full and trigger the water drainage. Simon rushed to stack the empty nitrogen tanks, but it wasn't enough. He looked around and saw his radio. He threw the small device onto the scale. With that, the water stopped rising and started draining. As soldiers rushed to catch the thieves, Tom and Lorraine vanished down the drain, escaping like sewer rats and probably smelling awful. They surfaced in the upper levels of the bank and, with security on their heels, needed to get out fast. That's when Lorraine remembered the art scanning room, where a window was always open. Without hesitation, they ran there, jumped out, and blended into the crowd celebrating Spain's victory. As soldiers scrambled to find the thieves, Tom and Lorraine, in hoodies, celebrated with the fans. Days later, James finally handed over the coins to his boss, only to realize he had been tricked. The secret code pointed to the Eiffel Tower, not the real treasure location. Meanwhile, Tom and his team, relaxing at a resort in France, were celebrating their cleverness in finding the real coordinates. Their next target? None other than the Bank of England. And of course, if they had already robbed one highly guarded bank, why not try another? But let's be honest. If we learned anything from Ocean's 11, it's that no one is safe from a good con. And if we were in Tom and Lorraine's shoes, we definitely would have stolen a boat to escape instead of crawling through a disgusting pipe. But hey, to each their own. Now, if you were planning such a risky heist, what would be your escape strategy? Would you flee like Tom and Lorraine or come up with an entirely new plan? Leave your opinion. Before you go, here's a video of Leonardo DiCaprio hiding inside a horse's stomach to escape his enemies. Click now and check it out.
And I gotta tell you, it was perfect.